today we're going to make a flatbread pizza with pesto and grilled artichokes. And then we're going to top it with our chicken. It's a super quick, easy dish for a midweek dinner that's going to be the star at your table. Let me tell you what's in it. We're going to start with a super fast dough. And the dough has flour, water, sugar, yeast, salt, olive oil. And then we're going to top it with our chicken, our grilled artichokes, and then the star, which is the pesto sauce, and mozzarella cheese. To make the dough fast, we're starting with 1 cup of hot water. I threw this in the microwave. You can probably see the steam coming up. I put my finger on it, and we're going to do the ouch test. 1, 2, 3, ouch. It's perfect. It has to be warm to get the yeast to activate. So as we pour it in, it's cooling down, and it's going into a cold bowl. So by the time it hits that bottom of the bowl, it's already cooled down like 15 degrees. To that warm water, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of white sugar. That's going to feed our yeast. So here we have our dry yeast. And to make this rise fast, I am modifying my yeast to add 1 tablespoon because I want that yeast to get it going quickly so I can get to the finish line and eat my flatbread. So let's stir up our yeast and our sugar. The yeast is going to eat that sugar and grow and get really frothy. If you just added the standard recipe of yeast, it would be 2 1/4 teaspoons. But by adding a tablespoon, the party's going to happen faster. And my oven does best at 425 degrees. And that gives me a really nice bottom of my crust for my flatbread pizza. I also am using a satia paper as my pizza stone. It's been 5 minutes, and boy, this really happened with the foam. That sugar and that yeast really had a good party going on there. Now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients for our dough mix. So add to that 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Stir it around. And this is the trick to getting your pizza dough mixed fast and by hand. You add 1 cup of flour to your bowl at a time. So there's the first cup. And now we mix it up really good. This little method is the one I figured out to get my dough smooth in a hurry. So by mixing 1 cup at a time, it doesn't spill flour all over the counter and make a big mess. So there's the first one. And see, it only took 20 seconds to get that smooth, or smooth enough. So we're going to add in our second cup, and that's my cheat on leveling it. So I'm going to be stirring it while I add that flour. Now check that out. It is already a big ball, but it's a sticky ball, so it needs 1 more cup of flour for a total of 3 cups. Here's my 3rd cup. Shake, shake, shake. Now, the 3rd cup goes in a little more slowly because the object is not to make such a big mess in your kitchen. You're cleaning the kitchen the whole night. As we sprinkle in a little more, we're going to see that this is really turning into one great big ball of dough, which is where the real fun comes in. At this time, I grab the dough and I just punch it down. I make it all flat. I sprinkle a little more dough on top because I felt it a little sticky in there. And then just kind of fold it in on itself and squish it down again. If you're a kid, you're going to have a party with this. Flip it over, a little more flour, until the flour's all gone. You just keep doing that. It is so fun because that dough is warm. I can feel it. Because I'm getting all that surface area on that dough, more of the sticky part comes up. And when the sticky part comes up, I can press the dough in it. And the reason it's sticky is because that's where most of that moisture is from the flour. So, okay, fold it in on itself, and let's feel it. Okay, I'm feeling some sticky part. So when I get it all exposed, I shove it back into the flour on the bottom of that bowl. You don't want it too stiff. You want it really elasticy. But if it's sticking to your hands like that, you're going to need some more flour. So I'm going to reach into my flour and maybe try another 1/3 cup. A little bit at a time it goes until it's not going to be sticking to my hands. Keep punching it down and add a little more flour. Scrunch it inside. After we punch it down and added enough flour where it's not real sticky, we're going to make a ball. Now that little ball is going to have a little rest in that bowl. I had put some plastic on this bowl to keep him all moist, and he is. And look at that. It really rose well. This recipe makes about 4 flatbreads. So I'm taking about the size of my fist of the risen dough, and this is what I'm going to roll out to be my flatbread. So put a little flour on a board for you to roll it. Since that stone in my oven that's been heating up is square, I'm going to try to get my flatbread to be square. So I go around, I kind of shove him down, and he's going to start off in that shape. Oops, I got a hole. In that hole, I need to plug it. So I'm putting a little more dough there. I'm using a little baby roller today. I'm putting some flour on it, and let's go. Roll it out. For rectangles, it's great. You just roll one direction. Your goal is to get a really thin flatbread. It's going to rise some in the oven. So press as you roll it. That's about the size of my stone in there. I'm going to cut them square. Now, this extra dough is going to be for another one later. We want to pre-bake them because we want to make sure this is a really crispy flatbread crust. Okay, so you might get 2 spatulas to do this part. But here we go. Let's stick them on that stone. There. He just slides off the board and onto the stone. Perfect. Now that's going to be in this oven at that thickness for 5 minutes. So while that's in the oven for 5 minutes, let's get our pan hot because we're going to halfway cook that chicken so it's not raw in the middle. So for one pizza, all you really need is 1 chicken breast. So let's cut that up in little pieces. Make them pretty small because this is a pretty quick process. You want that chicken done in the 5 minutes that your bread is taking to par bake. That's one of the secrets to get to the finish line fast. So into that pan that's been on high for about 1 minute while we chopped our chicken, I'm putting in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And in goes our chicken in one little layer, so all the little surfaces of the chicken get hot and cooked fast. And to that chicken, I'm adding just a pinch of salt. That's probably a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now don't touch it. The object of this part is to have that chicken be browned on one side. So that's going to cook probably only 1 to 2 minutes. So I can tell that this is ready to flip because I see a little brown in that pan. So I use the 2 spatula method. I go underneath and I flip it. See, isn't that beautiful, the crispy brown there? Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to see, is that sear. I'm ready to turn this off, and the heat in that pan will finish it up while I prepare my flatbread. It's been exactly 5 minutes. Let's get that flatbread out. And we see that that's a beautiful brown that's happening. It's like a little cracker. And now it's time for the star of the show, putting the pesto on that flatbread. My whole life, I have struggled with pesto because it takes basil leaves and pine nuts and olive oil and Parmesan cheese. And it is just a mess to make and takes forever. So I love using Mezzetta. I have these memories with Mezzetta that go back to when I was 5 years old, and my mom caught me eating these cherries that we had left over from a cocktail party, and I got in so much trouble because I ate those cherries. Mezzetta has been around since like 1934, and they came out of San Francisco in the Italian district, so they really know how to make Italian products, which is perfect for this recipe. I'm using half a jar of Mezzetta, which is about 4 ounces, because I want a really pesto-y tasting flatbread. So spread it all over. The reason I like flatbread is you get more of those toppings per bite. I like my flatbread with a lot of cheese on it, so I'm putting 1 full cup of mozzarella on it. Next, we're going to add our chicken. It has finished cooking in that pan after we turn the heat off. I'm even putting the oil because that little olive oil is a great topper for my flatbread pizza. Let's arrange our little chicken pieces. And now for the crowning glory. It's the grilled artichokes that have been marinated in olive oil. Mezzetta has taken the trouble out of grilling those artichokes, and I'm so happy they have. I can see the little char grill marks on it. I love that extra flavor. At a party, these are always the first one to go off the plate. I think the Mezzetta grilled artichokes have got to be the crowning glory on this dish. That pesto's a star, but this is either the co-star or it's going to steal the show. I don't know. I remember the plates of this would come out at parties and I would eat them all before the guests arrived. I got in trouble. I like to use at least half a jar per pizza of the grilled artichokes. And that oil that comes off is fantastic because it's flavored with that artichoke flavor. Yum. We're gonna pop this back in the oven for 5 minutes just to melt the cheese. It's been exactly 5 minutes and oh man, that looks awesome. What a quick midweek dinner. Let's try it. Oh man, that is amazing. That artichoke tastes so fantastic with that chicken. I'm gonna pick it off and eat it on its own. Subscribe to my channel and let's keep making great things in the kitchen. Bon appetit.